Hi, I'm NCGunGirl. Today I'm going to talk to you about getting your sights lined up appropriately. That's your sight alignment and your sight picture when you're getting ready to shoot. So the first thing you need to know is where the sights are on your gun. And if you're using a handgun, you're going to have something like this. You're going to have a rear sight, which would be in the back of the gun by the grip, and you're going to have your front sight. Okay? And your sight alignment is a relationship between the front and the rear sights and getting them lined up correctly. So how do you line up your front and your rear sight? You want to have your rear sight that you'll be looking down, and that most of them should have a notch there. And you're going to look down the center of that, and you're going to see your front sight lined up in the center. And what you're looking for is something where the top of the front sight is lined up and makes a straight line across with the rear sight. The front sight also needs to be centered in that notch. So you're going to have equal amounts of light on each side of your front sight. So that's your sight picture. Then you have your sight alignment, and that's then taking that front and rear sight all lined up correctly and getting that lined up correctly on your target. So whatever you're shooting at, if you have a bullseye, you want to have the front sight kind of sitting right in the center of, or just at the bottom of, that dot in the center. Okay, so your front sight is going to be sitting on whatever part you want to be shooting at. In order to get that perfect shot, to get that bullet to go where you want it to go, it's where is your sights lined up at the moment that you pull the trigger and the gun goes off. Wherever those sights are, that's where your shot's going to go. So the biggest thing that you need to pay attention to when you're shooting is those sights and keeping them lined up on your target when you pull the trigger and the gun fires. A few things to consider when you're lining up your sight as to where the bullet is going to go. So here you see, if your front sight is low, the blue is your rear sight, and then you have your front sight in black with the dot on it. So if your front sight was low in between the rear sight and that notch there, then all your shots are going to go low. Then if your front sight is high, if it's not lined up perfectly across here, if this is high, all your shots are going to go high. And the same thing you have if your sight is not centered, like these are centered. If it's off to one side or the other, your shots are going to go off to one side or the other. So that's your getting that sight picture all lined up correctly, that sight alignment. That's what you want to see, is a straight line across with the front sight. So now when I have my front and rear sights all lined up and they're kind of sitting on that dot, when I pull the trigger, my shot should go right on there. Okay, so that is what you're looking for, getting those sights lined up correctly with your target. So you get that right sight alignment and sight picture. And remember, wherever that front sight is going, that's where your bullet's going to go. So something else to think about is you're looking at three things. You have your rear sight, your front sight, and your target. They're all together to make up that perfect sight picture. But our eyes cannot focus on three things at one time. So although you're going to be seeing all three of those, the part that you want to have crisp and clear in focus is your front sight. Because where that goes, that's where your bullet's going to go. So you're going to see your rear sight and it'll be blurry. You're going to see your front sight crisp and clear, and you're going to see your target in the distance blurry. Okay? So you'll be seeing all three things, but your front sight nice and clear. So now once you have all those three things, front sight, rear sight, and target all lined up, what you need to do is get that trigger squeeze nice and slow. So again, when you pull it, the shot breaks, the gun fires, all your sights are lined up on the target at that moment. Then you're going to get that bullet going into your bullseye just where you want it. Make sure when you're aiming that you're using your dominant eye to line up the sights. If you can keep both eyes open while using your dominant eye, that's great. If you need to close one to get things lined up properly, make sure you're closing your weak eye, but always use that dominant eye to aim your gun. That was sight alignment, sight picture. I'm NCGunGirl. I'll see you next time.